Yo, welcome back to the No Pusher Podcast. It's Conklin.
Yeah, what's up, this car?
And yeah, man, we're back at it with another pod. And, this round two series right now in the playoffs has been something special, man. Like, when you talk about two powerhouses going at it with the Nuggets and Timberwolves, and then you go out east, you see the Knicks fighting hard, Celtics, Cavs, and, we'll get all to, the nitty gritty. But, that said, Kai, start us off.
Yeah, I feel like it's only right we start off with team out east. Um, the Knicks and the Pacers, man. Knicks up 2-0 right now. Um, it really seems like playoff Brunson is a thing, man. I
Yeah.
mean, we talk about first game 43 points, second game 29. Like he's playing out of his mind right now. And it's just so crazy when you think back to that final year in Dallas. Nobody knew what was coming next. You know what I mean? You got people talking about right if the only move the Knicks make in the offseason is getting Jalen Brunson is a failure, right? Nobody knew what was coming next. So
Yep.
um, just reading off some stats here. So Jalen Brunson 29 points, Dante DiVincenzo 28 points. OG Anunoby 28 points in 28 minutes. Isaiah Hartenstein 14 points, 12 rebounds, 8 assists, and near triple double. Josh Hart also near triple double, 19 points, 7 rebounds. 7 assists, 15 rebounds. Like like when you're stars and you're starting five or producing like this, like they only got what about 11 points from their bench? 12 points from their bench. Like that's all you really need. When you got your guys going off like that, and it's kind of unfortunate, right? Because this was like the first game that we got from Tyrese Halliburton where he was really showing, okay, it wasn't just a fluke, right? 34 points, nine assists, 6 rebounds. And really outside of him and Obi Toppin 20 points off the bench, nobody's really able to find their shot. Pascal Siakam only 14 points. You're gonna need your guys, like, especially in the playoffs. You're gonna need your guys to do their thing, right?
Yeah.
If your stars don't show up, it's a good chance that you're going home. But they go back to Indiana these next two games, and we'll see.
Yeah, for sure, man. Like, you know what? I think the one thing I wanted to highlight about the Knicks is just like the way they play basketball, man. You just love to see it. You know what I'm saying? Like we all know Knicks fans, the fans it can be crazy, but honestly, if I was there, if I was a fan of theirs, I would be going crazy too because the way they just are able to just hustle on defense and just swarm people and they just play hard, man. Like even after getting second chance points, rebounds, and like I feel like obviously the heart of the team. I know we all talk about Brunson, we always talk about Dante, but I want to highlight my guy Josh Hart, man, back-to-back games, 48 minutes. You telling me he played every single minute in game one and every single minute in game two, which is insane. You don't understand how much like stamina you need to have to play that consistently, right? And so shout out to him, and he played really good, like you said, 19 points, 15 rebounds, 7 assists, right? And also doing his thing on defense, of course, right? And then like I said, I feel like Brunson in the fourth quarter is just something people gotta watch out for because and he was dealing with a little injury. I think it was like either his hamstring or groin or something like that. Like he got taken out the quarter, like first half rather, for a little bit, and then after that they were still able to just keep it going with like OG was doing their thing and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that, right? And so it's good to see that without their star players in the lineup in the moment, they're still able to just do their thing. So that's a great sign for them. Um, the last thing I would say is that like at least for the next point of view, we're not really sure how OG if he's gonna play in the next game. So it's something to definitely
Yeah,
monitor
right
because
now
he's
he's
usually
ruled
the
out.
he's ruled out.
Ruled out for game 3.
Yeah, because he's basically the guys who just guard the best players, the other teams defend best offensive player, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's something to look at. And then I think from the Pacers point of view, people just gotta step up. They
Yeah.
just gotta step up, right? And I think the one guy, and they kept panning the camera over to him, right? And it was warranted because it was T.J. McConnell. Like every time you think when the Pacers brought him in, he just provided that spark, man, right? And I just didn't understand that they didn't even give him like crucial fourth quarter minutes, at which I feel like if they would have started him, like had him in the lineup down the stretch,
Hmm.
maybe this game could have been a little bit different, right? And
Yeah,
obviously the rebounding and stuff like that, it is what it is.
yeah. I mean, um, Jalen Brunson was dealing with that right foot injury, so going into Game 3, the Knicks are a little banged up. So we'll see if Indiana is able to capitalize off that. OG Anunoby missing Game 3, that's huge, right? Already missing Julius Randle, so I feel like because that was Pascal Siakam's main primary defender, so
Mm-hmm.
if it should be no surprise if in Game 3 we get a good spicy P game. So and they're gonna need it, right? This Knicks team has shown that they are at the top of the East. So if the Indiana Pacers want to keep their season alive, they have to handle business at home. Um,
100%.
but speaking of handling business at home, but the wrong way, right? The Denver Nuggets, right, down 0-2 to the the Minnesota Timberwolves. Almost said Vikings. Um, you know, as we've been saying, really this whole run, I guess for Minnesota, right? Anthony Edwards, 27 points, seven assists, but a real unsung hero that he's not getting a lot of credit for what he's doing for the Timberwolves during this run. That's Karl Anthony Towns, 27 points, 12
Mm.
rebounds, right? There's always been this question of, in terms of the league's bigs, where does Cat fall into? But he's really showing this postseason, like, man, my name's up there with the rest of these guys, right? I think it just took some time for him to finally get a good coach, finally get some good teammates, and you're seeing what the team has turned into. And another thing that I've been saying, like this entire postseason, but especially before this matchup, because I knew, right, Denver, they played. I mean, not only do Denver play defense, but Minnesota, they play defense, right? One of
Mm-hmm.
one of, if not the best defense in the entire association. Jamal Murray has to show up. Michael Porter Jr. has to show up. And last night these guys combined for 17 points. Like
Yep.
this, don't get me wrong. Jokic is not only the best player on Denver, best player in the league, right? But this team, especially on the offensive side, they go as Jamal Murray goes. That's every single series, pretty much since they've kind of entered this new era. Jamal Murray
Mm-hmm.
is their lead guy offensively, right? If he's shooting poorly, chances are they're not going to win that game. And it's no slight to
Mm-hmm.
the other players on Denver, but that just shows the level of impact that Jamal Murray has on the game, right? Like this wasn't an example of it, but I was talking to Cochran before we started the pod. Like
Yeah.
if Jokic has 40 points, chances are Denver loses that game, right? And a lot of teams can't speak for that, but the way Jokic plays the game, he doesn't need the score, right? That's not his main thing. So if he has to exert that energy on scoring the ball, chances are nobody else is showing up. And listen, Minnesota knew that, right? They knew the key to this series was taking away Jamal Murray.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, we all know about some of the antics that was going on the sideline.
Yeah.
Resulted in a fine. A lot of people were calling for a suspension. Um, I don't necessarily disagree with that, right?
Mm-hmm.
We've seen a lot of guys be kicked out for less. But the explanation, I believe, was if it would have been seen at the time, he would have received the tech. He wouldn't have got ejected. So they
Right.
couldn't elevate the penalty. They just could either start game 3 or I believe that was after game 2. So it either start game 3 with him already having a tech, or it would be a hefty fine. And man, a 6-figure fine is nothing to scoff at. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I know these guys are making millions, but listen, nobody wants to lose any dollar. So um,
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot of these guys are super competitive, hyper competitive, right? So sometimes your ego, sometimes your pride, it boils over. So hopefully, he can learn from this, and it doesn't, you know, hinder their chances at winning the series. I do believe they still have a chance, right? If any team in this entire playoff run has the best chances of coming back from 0-2, it's a defending champs, right? So
Yep.
I definitely feel as though it's not out of the realm of possibility that Denver goes back to Minnesota, is able to steal back 2, and we're sitting at game 5, 2-2 tied up. So
Yeah, for sure, man. Like everything you said, spot on, man. But and like you talked about how I think it's like it's all about the others. It's always about the others, right? And when you mentioned about Jamal Murray, like if he does not get going, then it's hard for the team to get going, right? And that comes with the territory of him playing the position that he plays. He's the point guard, right? He is the guy that is the mantle of this offense. He controls, he dictates everything. I know that people want to say Jokic, he can pass too, he can bring up the ball, but it's not the same as Jamal Murray doing it, right? And so, like, Jamal Murray, when you have like, having not only having a bad shooting night, but having a more turnovers to assist ratio, that's not gonna cut it, right? And so I'm pretty sure that's been the same way these last 2 games. And if you really want to dive into like the turnover ratios and stuff like that, he's like the past 2 games, he's having at least like almost 2 to 3 turnovers for every 1 assist, which is not good at all, right? And shout out to the Timberwolves. They're playing some really good defense. Like it's like double team, double team, double team. No matter anybody who has the ball, right? And there was like a clip online that was surfing the internet, showing Jamal Murray getting swarmed every time, and he didn't know what to do, and everybody was open, right? And it's just like one of those things where like you head back to practice, you just got to practice those things, right? And so we look at the shooting splits when your top 3 players, right, go Jokic, 5 of 13, Jamal Murray, 3 of 18, MPJ, 4 of 12, right? When your top 3 scorers combine like that and have a bad shooting night, more times than not, you are not winning that game, not at all. I'll tell you this much: you are not going to win the game scoring 80 points against a Timberwolves squad. Because this
no.
Timberwolves squad can not only defend, but they can put up points real fast,
Mm-hmm.
man. And Ant, he's just been so amazing, man. And I don't care what anybody says. You know, you could definitely argue he could could be the best player in the playoffs right now.
Mm-hmm.
Besides maybe Brunson, right? So that's definitely in contention with that. But and he's been on one. Towns, he's been so underrated ever since even the Sun series, right? Like
Yep.
we always talk about Ant, right? But we don't talk enough about like some of the other guys, right?
Mm-hmm.
Towns, or not even just Towns. Talking about the 6 man of the year, man. Nas Reed, Nas
Mm-hmm.
Reed. He's putting in the business, man. Putting in
Mm-hmm.
the business, right? And so yeah. Shout out to the Timberwolves, but the Nuggets heading back to Denver, they gotta get it done because I'm telling you this right now. If they go down 3-0, series is probably over.
It's kaput.
So
It's
yeah,
kaput.
so yeah, man. Like the Nuggets, if there's anybody that can do it, like you said, defending champs.
Yeah. And I feel like this is a perfect time to go back out east, man. And this is something I was telling people before that. If you watched our last video, I said the Cavs. I predicted the Cavs to they ultimately to lose, but in 6 games, I predicted they would be able to at least get still 2 games off of the Celtics, and just like tonight, the Cavs just won, tied up the series 1-1, and it's just one of those things that with the Celtics is it's just sometimes when their shots. I mean, I guess every team can speak for this, but because they shoot so their volume of 3-point shots are so high, when their shots aren't going, it almost automatically means okay, they lost this game. And I believe it was some stat right where like Joe Mazzulla was like tied with Phil Jackson for like the most playoff losses when you're favored by double digits, and they had
Yeah.
another one tonight. So I don't know if he
Mm-hmm.
has the record now, but it's just one of those things. I mean, Tatum showed up, 25 points, 6 assists, 7 rebounds. Jalen Brown, 19 points, but it's just one of those things where you're missing Porzingis, right? This is a game where obviously Porzingis will be able to make some level of impact, especially against those two monsters in the paint. Derek White, 30 minutes, 10 points. Um, so it's just one of those things, you wish Drew Holiday was able to give you more, but it's kind of like what I spoke to in a past couple pods. Like his role is, listen, we have enough scoring, just play defense, and I feel like This is one of those games that you wish he was able to give you a little bit more on the offensive side. But Donovan Mitchell, man, 29 points, eight assists, 7 rebounds, a near triple double. Evan Mobley, 21 points, 5 assists, 10 rebounds. Um, Karis LeVert off the bench, 21 points. Like, this is just one of those things. And again, they're doing this without their guy, Jared Allen, right? So, another guy that has been playing phenomenal this postseason has been Donovan Mitchell. Besides those 2 off games against the Magic, had damn near at least 30 every game, and I believe one game he had 50. So, even in a win, I still wish Darius Garland was able to give them a little more.
Yeah,
It seems like ever since they kind of made that Donovan Mitchell trade, Garland has been kind of taking steps back, right? I feel like he was on a similar trajectory to like a Tyrese Maxey, right?
mm,
Where he was going to get better, but these last 2 years he's kind of either got worse or stagnated, especially in the scoring department. So
mm,
hopefully, because when he first made that trade, I'm like, damn, that's a damn good backcourt, right? So
yeah,
hopefully, he can find his rhythm offensively, and not only just this series, but moving forward, right? Because it's a lot of discussions about, do they move one of these guards? And we'll definitely talk about that in terms of our offseason outlook for all these playoff teams. But, again, I just wish Garland would be able to give you a little more. But listen, if I'm a Cavs fan, I'm happy with the win.
yeah, 100%. Like anytime you can get a win at at the Celtics a home court, that's always a win. Always win because I think out of all all places to play, Boston is definitely one of the hardest places to play for sure, right? And it speaks for themselves for their home record, right? And so it's a great win. I mean, people be forgetting the Cavs. They are a second half team, and you want to talk about second half? I'm specifically talking about that third quarter because I don't know what's going on, but the Cavs they just turned up in the third quarter every single time. Ever since for the Magic series, every single win that they had was always a big third quarter, right? And so and it all starts with Donovan Mitchell. Talking about a guy who's the alpha on that team, where he's the clear best number one option, and he's leader, right? And so when guy and some of these guys in the playoffs right now with the Cavs, they're relatively kind of young in a sense, right? I mean, you got Okoro, you have Mobley, of course, Garland, right, Struess, right, and a couple other guys from the bench, right. I mean, obviously you got the veteran Tristan Thompson, but it's a relatively still young team, and so it's definitely interesting to see how he's leading that team to to this win. Um, the Celtics, bad shooting night, right? Bad shooting night. I mean, that I think that's this is a story of the pod. Is you can have bad shooting night, and it's any given night, right? And and I'm not shying away that the Cavs didn't play good defense because they did play good defense, right? But when you're not knocking down shots, Derek White, who's been on one this whole playoffs, right? I mean, he came out today 3-11, right? I mean, there's nothing much to do about that, right? And you brought up about KP. He would in this game that would have been perfect for him because none of the guys are starting to get going, and so you got a guy in KP who's a center and it can stretch the floor. Perfect, perfect game for him to play, right? But he's out this series, so it's just going to be really tough, right? Especially if somehow the Cavs are able to get Jared Allen back in this series. It's going to make it really interesting because when you look at the Celtics, they don't have a true center per se on the roster. I mean, they got like Luke Cornett or Xavier Tillman, right? But they're not KP or they're not to the the level of a front court of the Cavs with Mobley and Allen, right? And so it's definitely going to be really interesting. And who knows? I mean, it's either a matter of fact that the Celtics go to Cleveland and prove that we're still good, we're still the best team in the East, and we're just going to do what we did to the Heat. You got one game off of us on the second game, and then we'll just whoop ass it, the rest of the way. Or the Cavs, it's gonna be real interesting because if they win Game 3, that puts pressure. That puts pressure. And honestly, I'm here for it. I am here for it, man.
Yeah, I mean, as a wise man once said, you know, pressure makes diamonds. Um, but switching back over out west, right? We have your squad, man. down 0-1 to the Thunder. And kind of a key to this game is, funny enough, a quote that came before the series, right? They asked Coach Dagnall, right, what is their plan for Luka? And he said, make sure Lou Dort gets to the game on time. And listen, Lou Dort did his thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I believe Luka shot, I believe like 6 for 19, not a
Yep.
great game, right? And this is kind of a trend that we've been seeing this entire run, right? Where we're not getting the Luka that we're accustomed to in the playoffs, right? Where even though he's going crazy in the off, I mean, in the regular season, he somehow finds a way to elevate, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's just one of those things where you're not going to be able to win a game, especially against a team that's good with Luka scoring sub 20, Kyrie barely hitting 20. Like, when you
Yeah.
got guys like, you really got to rely on guys like Daniel Gafford and Josh Green to really give you something on the offensive side of the ball. You're
Mm-hmm.
in trouble, right? Because
Yep.
the Thunder, even though they're young and they have the Shays of the world and the J Dubs of the world, they have the best defensive rating in the playoffs right now. Right, so
Mm-hmm.
this is a team that is able to do it on both sides of the ball. Um, and speaking of Shea, 29 points, 9 rebounds, 9 assists, near triple double. Chet, 19.7 rebounds. J Dub, 18 points, 5 assists, 5 rebounds. Like, you know, Andrew Wiggins off the bench. I mean, no. Aaron Wiggins, my bad. Aaron Wiggins off the bench, 16 points, five rebounds. The other Jalen Williams, a near double double in 17 minutes, 11 points, 9 rebounds. Like,
Mm-hmm.
Isaiah Joe gave him 6 points. Like, they're a very well rounded team. Um, and again, the key in this game, in my opinion, was just Luka just didn't show up. He has to. He is the best player in this series. He has to play like it.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. Like throughout this whole game, I was just screaming at my TV, dog. Like I just didn't know what was going on. And the Mavs. If you guys don't know, we have a history of losing game ones. I'm pretty sure in the Mavs era, we're like 0 for 8 or 0 for 11 in game ones, which is crazy. Like we've only won one game. Like the first time we won in game one was like pretty sure during the Dirk era. So it goes to show you that we don't ever play good in game one. I just don't know why, right? But talking about this game specifically, like you said, Luca, bad shooting. That he's not like shooting 6 of 19 from field goals, 1 of 8 from threes, but the free throw line 6 of 10, and it's like he was never able to just settle into the game easily enough, right? And I think I'm not a guy to typically blame anything on like injuries or refs or anything, but we knew coming into this series that Luca was nursing a knee injury, right? And you just saw, if you guys watched the whole game last night, you just saw that every time he got a shot up, he was just limping, like, or just hopping to the other side of the field, of the court, right? And you can easily tell that man is in pain. That man is in some type of pain, but that's the thing. It's playoffs, right? He said it himself. He said that they asked him, how bad is the knee injury? He said that it is what it is. It hurts, but I'm going to play,
Yeah.
right? And that's a part of basketball. That's a part of sports, right? You play during injuries. It's either, as you're going up playing sports, it's either are you hurt or are you injured,
Mm-hmm.
right? If you're hurt, okay, get up, get back out there,
Mm-hmm.
right? But if you're injured, okay, we're actually have to take a look at it. That's
Yep.
two different things, right? And so I think this game just showed that like the physicality we weren't there.
Mm-hmm.
So off the jump, not getting rebounds at all. Lost a rebound game 52-39. It's not going to cut it at all,
Nope.
right? Especially against this Thunder team where we kept it close in the first quarter, but then they started to pull away, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so it was just really hard all around. Players just not making shots, and honestly, I feel like their approach for the second game. I know they've been trying to do this thing where they want Luca to start off hot first, then Kyrie in the second half. But in my opinion, I would like to see if they reverse it,
Mm-hmm.
right? In the sense that I need Kyrie to get hot first, then it gives Luka a little bit more time to just settle into the game because we know he has an injury. And I know I keep on saying the injury, but you see it. You see, there's
Mm-hmm.
something wrong. There's something wrong, right? And
Yeah.
so there's that, and yeah, I mean, I couldn't ask it honestly. I couldn't ask it more for like Gafford, Green, or like I mean, PJ, he was in foul trouble, so I can't really do much about that. And so there's that, and to the Thunder side, they played well, played
Mm-hmm.
really good. I mean, Shea, he's doing his own thing. I mean, there's a reason why he was second in the MVP voting ballot.
Mm-hmm.
Shed, runner up again to the rookie of the year, right? Two runner ups on the
Mm-hmm.
team, but it goes to show that they still play really well. I mean, they all shot the three pretty well all around. And yeah, they're a young, exciting squad, and you know, it is only game one, so I'm not going to panic or anything.
Mm-hmm.
I'm still going to stick with my squad, and so it's going to be interesting how we attack game two, and I mean I think it's going on right now actually. So
Mm-hmm.
we'll see how that goes, and yeah, I mean players just got to step up. I think that's just the moral of this whole pod right now.
Yeah. Yeah. And speaking of stepping up, right? Like you guys have been going crazy on our last Chargers 49ers video. Right
Mm-hmm.
now, I believe it's very close to eclipsing and becoming our most viewed video.
Yeah.
Um, Needless to say, I guess you guys enjoy that, right? Enjoy us talking about our squads. Um, Funny enough, we both follow like West Coast teams, and we live on the East
Mm-hmm.
Coast. But listen, I mean, you guys, we're commenting, you guys were liking, you guys were sharing, we were seeing all of that, and listen, that like I say, it puts the banner on our back, right? It gives us that motivation to, okay, we maybe we're going something with this, right? And we're definitely try to tap back into a little bit of football talk, right? We still have not given you guys our full thoughts on the draft, right? The NBA playoffs have taken priority
Yeah.
right now, but as we get further along in the playoffs, we get less games. That frees up our time and schedules to hit those. So definitely be on the lookout for more football video and football content coming out. But yeah, man, like I always say, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, share. We'll have all our social media links down in the description below. And with that being said, it's been a No Bullshit podcast, man. We'll catch you in the next one.
Yes, sir. Peace out.
Peace.